gosh, yeah, but it looks like our teams were kind of getting ready there up on the stage, or Skep, so looking kind of into what they're going to be facing in this group round one. They're going to be starting off on Rainmaker Undertow Spillway. As we both know, this map has gone under a few changes recently, so why don't you tell our viewers some about that?
It has. So Rainmaker Undertow is a tried and true competitive map. It's arguably the best Rainmaker map that we have here that we collectively agree upon in the Western scene. You will find Rainmaker Undertow in every tournament map list. So this is a map mode that our competitors are going to be extremely familiar with.
For real. I think as one of our good friends, SOS Grace, would say, it's the white bread of the white bread of maps as far as you go. Community standard, like you said, everybody loves it. And I think that new area we got those two cubbies, right, on the two sides that are, I think, really good for those frontliners to kind of take fights and have areas to move around.
Yeah, section off the mid a little bit, you know?
Exactly. And I think the most scary part is that old uninkable way where you had to kind of force your way through. Now you can ink over that, and I've seen scores just fly down there now.
So for those unfamiliar, imagine that you're standing in the middle of Undertow Spillway, you're looking down mid, right? If you hook left, that is predominantly the path that most competitors and teams will opt to take. Typically the right side is when you know you can go really fast, like you need to break that checkpoint and you just wipe the opponent, and it's just about getting points on the board. But that left side, I like to call our sustain. So getting on that left side, where that's slick, we used to call it slick because slick is the competitive term for an uninkable portion of the map. Because slick is now paintable and so much wider, typically what used to be about, okay, how long can you keep walking before you go down? Now you can really gun it on that left side. And I think that's made this map mode a little bit more volatile.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, even in my own set earlier, we had to push down to 13 over there on that side, and if you just wipe once, our opponents were able to come in and completely take it over and just push straight past that 13 score like it was nothing. You have to be really, really careful in that kind of disadvantaged state to make sure that you're using the positioning on the map and you're not just diving straight into fights.
Right, and keeping control of that bottom left side of the map. So if you're looking at mid and you're a little bit past mid, with the area that us competitors call spine, if you're up down on that left side, that's just a really good place to go down with the Rainmaker, because it allows you to predict where your opponents are going to go, if they're going to gun it on our left side or if they're really going to go for that right sustained route. There's a lot of nuance to this map mode, but it's a lot of familiar nuance. It's your Shakespeare of Splatoon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a reason it's a staple in basically every single tournament that we see in the scene, and that is definitely why. And I want to look in, just theory crafting, bouncing some things off the wall, looking into what our teams have in their arsenals here. I definitely want to touch on Riley's got that Tri-Slosher Nouveau that has the ever-loving Tacticooler that I think can be really helpful to kind of poke up and over a lot of the ledges that are here on this map. It can provide a lot of valuable pressure and just kind of chip damage. As well as you got that Splatana Stamper Nouveau with an ever-powerful crab tank.
Yeah, and Toxic Mist on this map mode, right? We're talking about a map mode that recently became more volatile due to recent patches. What allows us to control that volatility, right? A crab firing in a general area, providing some of that sweet, sweet hot chip damage, as well as the Toxic Mist, right? If that Toxic Mist is up on that slick area that I discussed earlier, suddenly it's less gunnable.
I totally agree with that, Skep. It can really do well at shutting down areas and just denying space. And that's really important with how kind of long and narrow that this map is. And that the crab tank fills that kind of pressure very well. You'll see it less used in these larger, wider maps where there's a lot more room for teams to choose where they're going to position, where they're going to move from. But on maps like Rainmaker, Undertow, it's really, really strong. What do you think on the side of Kessoku Band? Looking at them, what kind of is in their arsenal that could play to their advantage?
I see a lot that could be good, particularly on Rainmaker Undertow. Z plays the Sploosh-O-Matic, which has the 3rd highest damage per second on the Rainmaker shield in Splatoon. Goes Hydra, Dapples, Sploosh. Also has Curling Bomb, which is great for shooting your Rainmaker forward, and then it has that stamp on that kit as well, which is another really good repop option if you go down with the Rainmaker and you're trying to sustain while giving jumps in. In addition, they also have a V-Slosh player, which in terms of sloshers, because of how their hitbox functions, are very good on maps where there's a lot of changes in geometry and elevation, and that's something that our slosher friend is going to be able to take advantage of broken lines of sight that the shooter players on the other team are not necessarily going to be able to take advantage of. They also have Splat Bomb and Trip Strikes, which are both great options for stopping that Rainmaker.
Yeah, it's such a strong kit, and I think that's why we've been seeing so much of it in play. It's really versatile, and a lot of these maps have really cool changes and elevations that it can work of. And even if it's not even a more flat maps, as long as there's ledges that it can potentially sit under and poke up over, it can still find a whole lot of value.
Right, and look, we have our lovely teams on stream here. Low Tide Griddy on the left and Kessoku Band on the right. Everyone's so excited to be here.
Yeah, no.
Oh my god.
And I'm so excited to be here. I'm so ready to get into this set, see what they're going to be bringing out to the table. Of course, for everybody here, it's going to be a best of 5 throughout this group stage. So they're going to be battling it out, trying to get to that first 3 wins to move on to the second round of groups.
Yeah, and I hear that timer ticking down in the back of my ears, signaling that everyone is on weapon select. They're slowly pressing A when they're feeling ready. They're taking their final deep breaths before everything hits the fan. Oh, look at those smiles.
It's the thrill of competition getting ready here. They're going to be, throwing it all at the line to try to make it to, those really important day 2 stages. They need to take a win here. It's kind of a double elimination, so they want to make sure that they stay on the winner's side of bracket.
Right, and just as a reminder, if you go 0-2 in our double elim bracket, you're heading on the wave pool. 1-2, still going to wave pool. Anything better, you're on the redemption and potentially even top cut. This is round 1. Both of our teams are setting their records here.
Yep, here they come out, and we're getting ready to load. And here we have Low Tide Griddy rocking that Splatana Stamper that I called out. And they're going to be opting to choose the N-Zap over that Tri-Slosher Nouveau. And of course, now they've got that shot that's just seen everywhere. And they're going to be getting that early pop and the Rainmaker in their possession.
And they're working their way down towards that left side. I will say Kessoku's band, their comp might be a little bit difficult to deal with because they have a lot of AoE and a lot of range. However, we do see Low Tide Griddy nearly getting to that first checkpoint and getting enough picks to be able to sustain this push. We're going to see first checkpoint break here.
Yeah, the pick from that S-Blast onto the other blaster is absolutely huge for them here. And now they have this Crab Tank out, looking into just a vital position to keep the pressure up. The shot's going to go around the grates here, looking to see if it can find a pick, popping down onto those Tri-Strikes. Just one left up on the side of Kessoku Band.
And look where the Rainmaker is. It's on that that shoot that we call slick. And we see this Stamper player getting a phenomenal pick there. And if they really wanted to, they could grab this, but they're pins. There's 1 to their left and the range blaster to the right. That's 3 down on the side of Low Tide Griddy. Riley going to be forced to back here, and that push is concluded.
That was a great cleanup from the side of Kessoku Band, really getting in, and I think that Kraken ending behind that Stamper to be able to pressure them out was really great for them. Now Kessoku Band has mid in their control. You see this 96 gal wasting no time getting up there, finding 1 before going down. 2 down now on the side of Low Tide Griddy. Have to be careful. Well, there it goes. They are able to at least stop it, but Kessoku Band definitely is going to be trying to get back out here to this Rainmaker as soon as possible, Skip.
Yeah, but look at the paint that Low Tide Griddy has down. They have the path to the left and the right of the Rainmaker, and now they realistically, if they're positioned on that bottom right, only need to look towards the left. They get the pick on the Slosher. That's a lot of AoE down from mid, and they have 2 specials coming out of this to show for it. That Crab, ready to go any moment here.
Yes, it is, and it's going to be right now as that Rainmaker's coming out. The Slosher, though, going to be applying a lot of pressure to it. Isn't quite able to find the splat, but look at this. Low Tide Griddy going 1 down, going 2 down. make that 3 down. Kessoku Band gets the full wipe, and this could be dangerous. Now they are coolered up, heading towards that left checkpoint. They're going to be able to find that pretty uncontested, and it's going to give them a lot of space to get forward in front of this checkpoint and apply a lot more pressure.
And here's where we potentially start seeing that snowball. They are down that range buster, but look at this play coming out from that zap. Are they going to be able to find the pick? They find one, but they go down to the range on that jump in. There's one more in front of the range. Look at that spicy devil, and we see the Rainmaker going to be able to gun it here, but the Stamper clutches up. Kessoku Band still having 2 members up. Are they going to be able to get the repop here? Yes, they do!
Yep, and they get the lead too, Skep, here, and now they're just going to try to see if they can continue to force this forward, but it looks like Low Tide Griddy coming in here to try to put a stop to it. The 96 killer on the side, trying to keep hope alive, but unfortunately gonna go down. Now, Low Tide Griddy has a lot of room to go back forward. They had mid kind of starting to go back in their, or I say back in their control, but Kessoku Band coming back here, making fast work off that wipe. And now they've really got to find this pop. But Kessoku Band's, look at this. Their aggression is unrelenting.
Yeah, but their Slosher is going to find their back turn to the enemy with a beautiful jump out, managing to save those strikes. Kessoku Band still having a lot of paint down in mid here. Now they have the lead, but 28-33 is not a comfortable lead, particularly with the discussed changes to this map mode.
Yeah, definitely not. But if Kessoku Band can lock them out from ever even getting to that, or that couple part of the map, then, you know, it may be really hard there. And as long as they can stay alive, make sure they're not staggering out, they'll be in a good position. 2 down on both sides ensures that this is going to remain neutral for at least a while, but you can already see the jumps are coming back in here. But Trizuka is almost at the ready, and it looks like they may be popping it out as soon as they get it, but with 2 down on both sides, make that 3 down. No, it looks like Low Tide Griddy may have an opportunity to get pushing here. They have to watch out for this range blaster, make sure that does not get the pick on the Rainmaker.
Yeah, the Rainmaker's rotating left while it looks like their teammates are looking towards that right side, so there's no one in front of the Rainmaker here. They're taking some little pause shots there up on that top left, but now we can see the members of Kessoku Band have come out of spawn. And you know what I like to call a Kraken on Rainmaker? I like to call it your momentum thief. And there we go. They get the pick on the Rainmaker, so this push is going to be a little bit stalled out for Low Tide Griddy with only 35 seconds left on the clock.
Absolutely huge, and yeah, with 30 seconds left on this clock, Low Tide Griddy needs to find some really vital picks, and they need to do it now. This blaster going to be trying to make that difficult for them, looking at the side, but the blaster does go down, Skep. Now you're up here pushing 2 down, 3 down on the side of Kessoku, but the Rainmaker resets. They are going to have to turn around to pick that up to keep this going. It's up to Pick Pickles here to really keep that pressure up and make sure that Kessoku Band is not able to get back in and find this. They're going to have to really watch their flanks here.
Absolutely, and the members of Kessoku Band are all out of spawn, but it does look like they're all in that top left and top right area. The range blaster comes in and flanks with perfect timing, denying Low Tide Griddy a chance at overtime before the clock strikes 0.
That was huge there, Skep, and like I knew it's like someone is gonna try to sneak around on that side. It's if you send your whole team up on that left-hand side, what you do, you need to send at least 2 people there to really effectively be able to clear that space. But if you don't send or keep one person at least behind, keeping what I like, keep down Mr. President with the Rainmaker, then you're really vulnerable to someone just coming around and shooting them in the back to get the splat.
Absolutely, and looking back at that set, I will say I was initially surprised with the initial wipe on the members of Kessoku Band. I looked at the comp and I was like, yes. Okay, they're running that blaster, they're running that slosher, they're running that stamper. It really seemed to me like they were playing specifically for the map mode, and I would expect to see some degree of comp change moving on the tower control ship shape.
Yeah, definitely. I think they need to find it. The big key here, Skep, is at that second checkpoint, really being able to find something to poke at and clear that big, tall area up above you. It's just such high and reliable defensive ground. And unless you can really get a splat up there and send somebody up there to hold it to make sure that they're not able to keep that on defense, it can be really hard to find a checkpoint break there.
I always tell my team, we're probably gonna burn a lot of utility being our specials on that first checkpoint. We will float that tower somewhere in front of court where we have access to all of mid, both of those left and right high grounds, to be able to recoup, take a breather, get our specials, and then have something hard in order to clear that top right area. I do think that's very important. I think a lot of competitors tend to rush that second checkpoint, and because it's such like a fortress for the defending team, you really, really, really have to take your time there. Like, keep in mind, we do have a range blaster and a S-Blast on both teams. Both of those weapons are very good at camping underneath those ledges. So we'll see if we stick with those. It is tower control. Very good map mode for them. And some slight degree of comp change here coming out on the yellow side. They're switching out that shot there on Coffee. And then actually, turns out I made a fool out of myself, and they both stayed the exact same health.
Yeah, they did, sure did. But, you know, you're right with the blasters being really well here. I think that the bucket on the side of Kessoku Band has access to those really good tri-strikes to be able to clear out that top edge as well. But right now, they're just going to have to be fighting for this tower, and it's 2 down on low tide Griddy. Make that a full wipe, as Kessoku Band is now going to be taking this tower, getting that momentum under their feet, and they have a tacticaler here ready to go. It's looking like they're going to hold it for just a second for optimal placement.
Yeah, and they have 2 stacking on that checkpoint. Keep in mind that things do tend to get a little bit slippery as this first checkpoint does fall. Now they're looking forward towards their court. We see Kessoku Band doing a great job at camping underneath that left ledge, and they have this Kraken. But is this Gal going to find themselves in a pickle when this Kraken expires, fighting this S-Blaster in a very dangerous and scrappy 1v1 as Kessoku Band finally gets to that second checkpoint? But here we go. They don't have any specials somehow.
No, the tri-strikes got burned just a little bit fast and not on that top left-hand area to be able to keep it for their push. So it looks like they are going to go down there, but a push to 26, pretty respectable here in the opening 2 minutes, but definitely not safe by any means. You can see that they're already trying to charge forward on the side of low tide Griddy to find some picks, but 1 down on both sides. They're going to need to get some more forward aggression going here.
And the fact that Kessoku Band did wipe did allow low tide Griddy to very quickly take that top left side of the map. And once you have that first checkpoint does tend to go easier, but it looks like the tower is going to be flanked from behind, but the blaster takes care of that up close and personal. And before following it up on that very precious and important Zuka here, Kessoku Band going to be able to start working that tower forward. And look, there's no one to stop them from getting some paint on the field.
Cytogast on that blaster was absolutely tearing it up on the side of Kessoku Band, and now all that momentum is in their favor. The bucket unfortunately going down, but you can see that tower is already riding there. 2 down, the Kraken gonna just be chasing the members of low tide Griddy out, trying to hold this vital area. Unfortunately going down, it looks like that tower is now gonna go back in control of low tide Griddy as they try to get some more turf back under their control.
They have 2 specials, they have that crab in order to try and stabilize their position here on top right, but they do go 2 down. Holding top right here is so important. You can't afford to take a little bit of risk here, even if it means going down, so that way you can get jumps in safely, and that's exactly what we see happen. We are in a 2-2 situation for control of this top right area on behalf of low tide Griddy.
Yeah, Cheesy there. I think just backing up, kind of the right call at this moment, not wanting to be too aggressive when they're on the back end and some members down. Instead, just going to be waiting for their team to kind of regroup with them, taking it by or slow, knowing that they have plenty of time to stop this tower. They are burning through their specials on the side of low tide Griddy here in an attempt to get this first checkpoint, which they are going to be able to do. And they do now look, they have a Booyah Bomb to try to get out, but they have to actually get the tower there to make an attempt at that second checkpoint.
And here we go, low tide Griddy still holding that top left. And you know what? This looks like this is going to be a decent sustain to me. They have that Reef Slider from that S-Blast ready to go. They're going to be able to work a beautiful jump out. Oh my gosh, applying pressure with that Reef Slider just to jump back to tower here. As we're potentially going to see a lead change.
Oh, potentially, but then they go 2 down at just the wrong time, and then Kessoku Band is just able to kind of clutch this up. And look how fast this Ink is trading. Kessoku Band now has a lot of presence here in mid. The blaster trying to get pick 1 onto Riley.
Ooh.
Pick 2 onto Pick Pickles there. That's going to be huge for them.
And the Stamper using that crab to try and maintain control of their court. Now looking at that top left area where Kessoku Band is going to be sending those reinforcements. They're holding it too, so I don't know, Taman. This still looks to be anybody's game.
Yeah, still is. Just a minute left. There's plenty of time for it to flip in any way. The Zuka is online at the side of low tide Griddy as they're trying to get up here in a good position, finding 1, 2 down now on the side of Kessoku Band. This is going to be their opportunity. I need to see them get on this tower now and get things going. They have a crab tank as well. It looks like they may be trying to pop out here pretty soon, or maybe holding it for just a little bit. What do I know, Skep?
Ooh. I think Pick Pickles is going to reef slide in on that left here, and potentially to even get this crab. And yeah, look at that crab. It's popped on that top left, but they lose that reef slider before it can even be popped. 2 down on the side of low tide Griddy, and it looks like all of that momentum that they had from those specials are snatched right out of their hands thanks to this blaster.
the Cytogast has been tearing it up time and time again, securing vital splats on the side of Kessoku, and really one of their biggest momentum drivers getting going, and they're going to be staying here looking for more picks on low tide Griddy as they try to get out. There we go. There's the wipeout. Cytogast looks like they're going to be securing this up for Kessoku, man.
And you know what I like to say? Clip it and ship it, Cytogast. I want to see that on Twitter.com later. Look at this Kraken just denying low tide Griddy any chance to get their feet planted in the ground.
Oh my gosh, Skep, what a beautiful ending there. And I think that they kind of they played their cards right. They knew when to push. And I think the most important thing is they knew when they needed to kind of back off and regroup, get back together, and then take those fights to make sure that they didn't drop a winnable lead.
Right. And I was greatly impressed for both teams with how quickly they took important areas of the map. So a concept that some players struggle with is like, what is taking space?
Yes.
You know, like what does that mean? Does that mean going forward and dying? Does that mean going forward and getting splats? Taking space really means taking important areas and denying that space from your opponent in positions that they want to try and use to defend. It's a very important concept, especially on tower control. And I was really impressed with how quickly both teams took mid.
Yeah, they really, as soon as you saw, especially a wipeout, if a full wipeout crossed that screen, they were going forward. They were wasting no time. They were painting up. They made sure that there was really no space for their opponents to enter. And you saw that because of that, a lot of times they were having to farm up special in their base and using that to find a way to break back in.
And keep in mind, this is two very close games here. Our Rainmaker Undertow Spillway was very close, and then Tower Control Ship Shape. That was only a 2-point differential moving on to Clam Blitz, Barnacle, and Dime. A little bit of an uncommon map move, but still one that we see around every now and then.
Absolutely. And we're going to be seeing what they bring, you know, maybe any changes. They've stuck with what they've had so far. And you know what I kind of say? I say if it's not broke, don't fix it. Especially here in LAN, you know, a lot of these people aren't quite familiar. This isn't their home. This isn't their setup. Things are a little bit different. So sometimes sticking with those weapons that are just very familiar to them, very comfortable to them, and not switching it up too much kind of is key, because you have to be as comfortable as you possibly can.
Especially if you are playing with people that are not your teammates, that don't have niche strategies for each map mode. Playing what you know and what is good for you will bring out more success and maybe changing everything around. So we'll see whether or not they stick, and if they're sticking for this, they're probably sticking these comps for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I would definitely be willing to bet loading out, but it does see like Riley is going to be swapping over to that Tri-Slosher. We're going to see an Arrow Spray coming out as well, and I think that's the same comp on the side of the Kessoku ban.
Yeah, low tide Griddy down 0-2 and opting to change their comp a little bit here. That Arrow Spray is quite the cheeky pick, and we are going to see Devil Boo. Gosh, someone stop Cytogast.
Cytogast is cooking, but gonna be cleaned up by that Arrow Spray, who's now trying to take space. He's gonna be going in with that Reef Slider, seeing if they can catch anyone off guard, seeing if they can pick that jump off. They do, getting Zophie there, and now they're gonna be able to have a lot more solid ground to take here in mid.
Yeah, and they have specials to show for it now. We're about to see that ever-important Zuka, but Kraken Royale, the Momentum Thief, coming right in through and getting 2 picks, and especially taking down that shot that wasn't cooled. Great pick from them there.
Yeah, the stamp there on the side, trying to apply some extra pressure, but once again, Cytogast is just looking into that, ready to shut it down. Now Kessoku Band is here on this top left. They've got clams. They don't quite have a power. They can throw some to each other to make it, but they need to find just a little bit more to get a score going, and they need to find a few more splats. There goes one. This is definitely their opportunity here, Skep.
Oh, this Blaster player knows exactly when, where, and how to just start taking tiny steps forward, and they can even play objective too. Can you believe that from a Slayer?
That is huge. Able to get that down to 71. They still have a few more clams that they can be adding to the score here, but it looks like unfortunately they are going to go down. This push is going to end here at 71 remaining. Of course, not a super safe score, but it was a really good show of coordination there.
And they have 2 specials on the side of low tide Griddy. They have that reslider, they have that crab, and this time they have that cooler. That crab and cooler are going to come out, which tells me that low tide Griddy is going to want to start working their way forward, taking their opponent's snipe. We can see here where our shot player is standing. This is where most pushes on this map mode are sustained. You could sit here. It's a difficult place for your opponents to retake unless you wipe. So take your time from this point forward.
Yes, you gotta be careful here. And now low tide Griddy has all this momentum in their sails. They just need to be careful here. The Tri-Slosher finding a pick, moving in, looking to find a second. This is gonna be the opportunity for low tide Griddy to try to get in. They are gonna stall it out with strikes on the side of Kessoku band, but will they have enough? The Crab Tank and the Zuka together are gonna make sure that score goes in. They need to just try and find a few more clams, but it looks like Kessoku band is already here, really stalling out that defense.
And the Reef Slider comes out, but very quickly canceled from Sidagas as they try and get their jumps in, but those jumps are not going to be there in time as Riley lands with that power clam and is very quickly canceled out of that jump. Kessoku band going to be able to start working their way forward again. We are still looking at a very even game. If either team scores a single power clam here, they're going to extend either their lead or swap it.
Absolutely. You gotta remember now, though, that also low tide Griddy does no longer have a pity clam, so they are gonna have to make sure that they don't lose any clams that they have picked up. They need to keep that up for their score. Kessoku band is sitting in a little bit of a safer spot here right now, especially as they're pushing forward. Just that arrow spray, they may have another opportunity to score. You can see that they're picking up their pity clam now. No, that's not even that really pity. They just made a clam, and now we're going to be adding to their score here up on this left-hand side. The Kraken is going to provide a little bit more space, forcing back this Stamper, and it looks like, just as I thought they were going to add more score, it looks like actually a power clam missed.
Oh my, but they managed to recoup that underneath the basket before that 96 gal does go down. Kessoku band still has control of mid. They're still going to be able to keep bombs down, maybe deny low tide Griddy a chance from their snipe back. But it does look like the momentum is shifting, especially as this crab comes out.
Yeah, the crab trying to look and see if it can find Sidogas there along with that read slider, but unfortunately to no avail. They do find Zophie there on the side, and Sido does go somewhere or down somewhere on this map. It's going to be an opportunity for low tide Griddy to get something up, but as soon as I say that, once again, Kessoku band has been having excellent defenses on this map.
It's just that they're getting the right picks when they need to. As soon as low tide Griddy is able to get their feet planted on the ground and start being able to maybe look at pushing objective forward when they have those specials online, Kessoku band is just getting the right picks on them.
Yes, they are, Skep, and low tide Griddy, speaking of them, they are finding that space once again, but you've got to look out for that momentum staller. That Kraken is coming in. Riley there on the side trying to find a way in with the power clam, and it looks like they're shut down just before they're able to make the throw. Silly's going to try to get in, and this reslider is going to try to as well, looking to see if they can pick up that clam. Not going to be able to do so. They still do have a power clam in their hands, but they are going to have to kind of back up and regroup just a little bit. We're about to be going into overtime. They have one more chance to make this work.
And Cheesy pops that cooler on that NZAP 85. They're moving forward. They get the pick on Pick Pickles, and there's going to be no one there left to gather that power clam. Kessoku band taking the game. GG's for the set in a 3-0 fashion.
Huge. And you know, Skep, I say this all the time when I'm on mic, but this is one of those sets you see the score, you see a 3-0, but that does not tell the whole story here today. We saw how close, how back and forth these two teams were. But I think at the end of the day, Kessoku band was really good at just kind of cleaning those defenses up, and they just had the edge in that category, and it was able to win them those games.
It just came down to small decisions, particularly that last game. We would see specials being popped at the same time, and maybe there would have been a little bit more wind in their sails on the side of low tide Griddy if they had perhaps staggered those out, right? You use one to break in, you use one to hold. But more often than not, I did see those specials being popped at the same time, and that just means that you have all this pressure going out, and then there's no oxygen left in the room.
And that's what it boils down to sometimes. And I have to, I have to mention too, on their offensive side, Sidogast was absolutely key to making those offensive plays coming together. That power on the range blaster of just knowing exactly where to shoot, and you saw that they move up with their teammates too. Not always just relying on their own damage, but trying to crossfire along with their teammates, making sure that, maybe instead of 2 indirects, they could hit either just the 1 direct or crossfire with their teammate, hit a bullet from an in-zap, and then get the pick from the blaster.
You love to see that kind of play, particularly from a range blaster. There's the argument about whether or not range blaster is viable, but like we saw 2 different blasters that set. Both played very competently.
Absolutely.
And just the quads from side of gas, like, dude, relax.
And blaster is like, no, I could never play a blaster in a million years. I don't have the skills to what it takes. But it's really cool to see these talented blaster players come out. It's, I think, really truly one of the most fun weapons to spectate here. Because you either get these really cool clutch moments of just direct after direct after direct that really shows their skill, the way that they can aim the weapon and predict where people are going to move, or you just see that excellent team play of just crossfiring with their teammates, getting that extra chip damage, making sure that they're able to secure kills that maybe their teammates weren't able to pick up.
They're able to hold and lock down an area, right? They have that section bomb, which range blaster is a pretty ink-hungry weapon, so you don't want to be using that section bomb too often, but it's still a tool that you have. And then the range of it, the fact that the hitbox is so large, and it's a particularly dominant weapon on Barnacle and Dime. So to see it played that well, particularly around that left side underneath those ledges to deny high ground from low tide Griddy, well played.
Yeah, absolutely, Scab. Just, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I love to see them at it. It feels so different here at LAN. Like,
the game feels different. Like everything.
Even just the energy from the crowd behind us. Like, we would see Cytogas getting pick after pick, and I could just hear the crowd just bursting into a roar behind us.
It's a lovely feeling. It's a little nerve-wracking, like if you're not used to it and you're playing, and all of a sudden there are people watching you, people you know, people you look up to, people you respect. It's like, oh my god, we're gonna die. But then like you pop off, and then they cheer for you, and everything's good.
I know, and it's those sweet moments that really make it pay off.
Yeah.
And win or lose, even just your shining moments. My set earlier went 1-3, but that one game where